But then yeah, of course, TI comes around and we do the classic. Back then we were clueless back then. That's why like when I have these young players and I'm like, you don't understand how lucky you are to have people around you that have made so many mistakes that you don't have to go through them yourself. So first mistake, we go for a month and a half boot camp or something.
I don't think it was that long.
It was super long in my, maybe not that long, but it was like very long. Like I think it was minimum 1 month, maybe more, right? You don't think so?
I don't know. I mean, I might
feel
have
like it
just
was like-
shrouded it out from my memory. I don't
It
remember
was
everything.
so long.
I remember
Like,
it being. I remember the bad parts, though. We'll get
Yeah.
to that, I'm sure.
it was very long. It was in a very super bad place. Like
Taunusstein, Germany.
yeah, so I don't even know where it was, but like
Oh
what
my
I
God.
remember is like the setup. Like the set, we were sleeping on the floor, weren't we?
No. So we had like these two. We had bunk bedrooms, right?
Okay, but
We had two bunk
I
bedrooms.
remember.
There might have been one floor.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
okay.
Wow. Okay, I'll let you tell the story, and then I'll give
Yeah.
my version. Then we see what
Okay.
overlaps, because I think we have different.
I
memories
just
of this, which is
remember
great.
we always entered that. So obviously it's like these kind of shitty apartments, like yeah, just not welcoming, kind of dark, this kind of stuff, smelly, whatever. But then I remember we had to go through this first room where there's this one guy sitting at his desk all the time. Some very grumpy guy. We didn't even know who he was. He was always like shouting super loud in German, like always shouting at somebody over the phone. So very intimidating when you're young and you're like, where am I getting into it? And he had this huge dog, I think, that was like
dog, yeah.
sitting on the floor and like borderline threatening. And the only place we could sit in the apartment would be next to his desk, because there was like two chairs or something, and then like this table where we would like sit down there. And this dog was always there, and I was always watching this dog. Like I don't know, it just felt so unsafe and unwelcoming. Anyways, so then we do the boot camp there. It's a big mess. We do all the mistakes you can do. We play way too much, as in like we do fucking like 6 scrims a day or something, like 12 maps. I can't even remember, until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. We order only junk food because nobody is there to even help us order anything. So we just go for the easiest option. We eat it in the room. It's just like all of the things. Like today, I would die there. Like,
Right.
but thinking back at it, it's crazy. And then we do this for so long. Obviously, we treat each other not well at all, as in we don't mistreat each other's, but it's like we would argue over games, just like all of the things that when you're young and stupid you don't understand, right? But then there was a big thing also with Kebab where I feel like he was a very angry person at the time, right? Like that's to say the least. So he was very hard to deal with. He was very toxic, like insanely toxic towards everybody. I think especially towards Sin. From what I
Really?
remember, yeah,
It was not good.
yeah.
But you were the one who almost got in a fight with him.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
literally, you were
'Cause-
so angry at each other. You're
So-
like, okay, I'm gonna fucking fight you.
I would I would fight back. Like I would talk back, right? I think Sind was much more like
Cuck.
no, no. I think
You know me so well.
no. I think he would try to avoid the conflict, or like
Yeah.
like so he would like let go much more. Whereas I felt like I couldn't find the strength to let go. I was like, what the hell did you just say? Like say it again. Like and Sin would just like let go. So I think Kebab would just like keep lashing on him because it was the easy way to lash, right? Fonzie would not care at all. He would be sleeping all day, or like he would actually just laugh it out. Like I don't care anyways. Like whatever you say. It's like, oh, you're so bad. We lost because of you. So Sin would probably be like, okay, sure. I'll be like, what the fuck did you just say? Say that again. Fonzie would be like, well, I don't care about the game anyway, so whatever. Sure, we lost because of me, and we're gonna do the next one too, by the way.
Sounds healthy, yeah.
Yeah, and Soxka was like, I guess he was the one that would take responsibility for the team, kind of, or try to. So I think he was all over the place trying to think, how can I fix this and stuff. So yeah, rough times. Then this bootcamp is rough from beginning to end. Even though Dora-wise, I think we were actually quite good, which is the saddest part about it. I don't know if you remember, but the day before we leave to TI, we played Counter Logic Gaming, the team that would actually knock us out. We played them 5 or 6 maps in a row, and I think we 6-0 them. Like we stomped them 6 times in a row. That was before flying. That was the team that's gonna knock us out in the best of 1.
That seems to happen. Like we had the same experience with Wings at
Yeah.
TI6.
And then once we get there, the group stage doesn't go really well. We play versus good teams. We're a broken team. We have no business being there anyway. I mean, just because of how we are as a team, right? In hindsight, I think Dota-wise, we had a lot to bring. But anyways, the group stage goes really bad. Kebab starts losing his mind more and more. I don't exactly recall how things happen. Probably you have better memory than me. And then what I remember is like this goddamn best of one. Like what happened in that game.
Venomancer.
That, oh my god. That you have to understand, it's like your entire life has been devoted to this tournament. Like it was a dream of all of us. I mean, you've been to TI1, but this was my first TI. I think it was Kebab's first TI. Fanzi,
Yeah.
Sakshka, we've worked so hard throughout the years before. Anyways, like we get there, we have to play this best of one. And I remember before the game trying to rally people, and I remember going to Kebab and telling him, because I remember group stage games were like he would like just like tell Sind or me or somebody, like literally we're sitting to each other like, you're so bad at this game, we're losing this game again because of you. And I'm like, can you just like relax, can you play the game? But he would like just
in the middle of the game.
in the middle of the game
shit.
he would start screaming and like shouting and stuff. And then like this best of one I go before and I'm like, can we please like gather and like, you know, like make this work, like this game is important for everybody, like come on. And then I think he gave me a yeah, sure, like let's do it, something like that. Like, and then yeah, whatever, yeah, cool, we'll do it. So then the game starts. It starts with the rune. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
remember that?
yeah. We
Back then you had power runes, and they would randomly spawn. We didn't know where they went, and so people would check runes at the beginning, and it could lead to a total situation, right? The guy gets DD or haste, and then all of a sudden it's the first blood situation. So Sin goes to check the rune. I think you're a Rin Ranger, if I recall well.
I was.
And we're playing versus Lacoste Tide Hunter. That's what I just remember. I remember the Tide Hunter, Lacoste Tide Hunter. And then Kebab, with all his PMA, is like, as Sin goes to check the rune, he goes like, if somehow you die at this rune, I'm done. You know, PMA, just feeling your teammate confidence. You know, Sin then goes there. There's the haste. They both click it. Lacoste gets the haste. And then I'm already like, fuck. I hope this doesn't go wrong. You know, like I don't know what happened next, but please let it be that he doesn't die, so that the other guy doesn't tilt. You know, and then they start chasing you down. They end up getting the first blood.
Yeah, his skills gush and they just run me down with
Yeah.
haste. Yeah.
They get the first blood, and then Kebab is like, oh well, I'm done. That's how it started.
Oh my god.
That's how the best of one starts. And from there on, he just griefed the entire game. He played Veno. He never had a TP. He was pushing on the one side of the map, hitting in the trees, placing plate wards, no TP. And then I remember at one point, I think I was playing Enigma. At one point, I read like a smoke play from them or something, and I'm like, they're gonna do a big fight top. I have Blink BKB. Can we take the fight? We can win the fight. We're all trying. The four of us are super trying to win. Like literally playing 45. He's not in the game. And I'm like, Kebab, please, can you join this fight? Like we're gonna win this fight. We're gonna win the game. I promise. I think he answered like, fuck you, I'm not coming. I don't care. And I'm like, okay. And then we took the fight 45, lost the game. And that was our TI run. That was my TI2 experience. So, yeah.
And I remember I told him already, probably on the podcast, I ran into Kebab in the talent hunt and he was bragging about, like, I played Vena with one hand at TI. It's like, what the... Even my reaction, I don't even know if I knew you back then. But
he
like...
actually played with one hand. I believe that. Like, he was not even trying. He literally ruined the game. Like, he actually griefed the game.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that since.
Yeah.
I think that is literally the single most toxic performance of all TIs.
Yeah.
Because like even if you look at teams that are doing really poorly, it's like, okay,
everybody tries to.
They're gonna try to win. Like they might play like shit and have a really bad tournament, but at least they show up and they play their game.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's other team environments where people aren't, you know, exactly on the best terms or you lose trust or whatever, but I have never seen anything like this again. And it's interesting to get your perspective. It's so long ago. A lot of the things you say, now that you say them, I remember them, but I've kind of like just pushed them out of my memory. But some of the things about that boot camp, I really remember. I forgot he had a dog, but I remember this guy sitting behind his desk smoking cigarettes, chain smoking fucking cigarettes. So the whole boot camp just smelled like cigarette smoke. And our kitchen there was rancid. Because nobody was cleaning it. So we were just eating our fast food and throwing away the waste. And at some point there was like, I don't remember how it happened. At some point we were like, okay, we have to clean up this.
I still have PTSD from that place. I swear, it traumatized me.
And I remember, so I was talking to Susie and I was saying, oh, we're going to have Ceb as a guest in the podcast. She came and visited us at the boot camp. She was like, this is just... She was like, "Oh my god, this is like every fucking stereotype about gamers."
The best thing that ever happened at the best thing that happened at that bootcamp, you know, like thank God because when she came, I remember we went shopping and you know,
she went and bought towels with her, and we cleaned the kitchen, and she was like, "This is just fucked up, man."
I was like,
It was
Thank God we
really
came,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah, that was so bad.
No.
But yeah, it's interesting because thinking back, I don't know if we've talked about this that much in the podcast, but like my personality as a player and as a captain, it's more like I've always had been more of a mediator
Yeah.
rather than the guy who says, okay, this is what we're gonna fucking do. You shut the fuck up. You're
Yeah.
being unreasonable or whatever, right? So in these situations, I had like no framework, and I don't like if I get in a situation like that again, like that, I don't think anyone would ever play Dota like that again and get on a
way.
team. Like
Yeah.
it was a different time. Someone with that mentality gets kicked before it gets to this
Instantly.
point.
He
There's
would not find
no
it, yeah.
fucking way
Yeah.
you would put up with that, right?
But
But
back then you didn't have enough good players. So what I mean,
Yeah.
like the ones that were good and toxic, well, they would still find teams.
yeah,
But I think now there's enough good players that are not toxic. So these the ones are gonna be left behind.
yeah, it's to a different extent at least. So yeah, that whole thing, and I remember we wanted experience against the other regions. So we were scrimming against Chinese teams. You remember we were playing against like eHome
Yeah.
or whatever, and we would like switch servers and stuff, and they had like totally different strategies, and we tried to adopt some of theirs, and it really didn't work. And then yeah, and we had this like horrible ping in the environment, and everything was just absolute shit.
Yeah. It was one of the worst. But it was, in hindsight, like looking back
big
at
learning
it,
experience.
yes, it really was.
Right.
It really was. But it was very painful.
Yeah.
Like, very painful. But usually that's when you learn the most, right? Because you never want to find yourself in a situation again. I remember I was so upset and mad at him when TI just concluded, right? When we got knocked out. I was so mad. Like, I was like, yeah, I think I would have gotten in a fight with him if I would run into him. I felt like he had stolen, he had just destroyed everything that we've all tried to build. Like, you know, and I could not stand that. Like, it's too much, you know, somebody just.
Did
take
you
your
ever
work
see
and
him
your dream.
after that?
Yeah, actually, I did. I don't know. Maybe I didn't see him, but we spoke online, and he apologized, and he said that he was in a very. I mean, only an unhappy person behaves like that. I truly believe that, and I never hated him. Like as in, like I hated what he did, and I was really mad at him. But I would never hate a human being. Like, I mean, whatever. Like, the truth is, I did not know him as a personally, right? I don't know what he was going through, what his life was, what was his problems, and I can only assume that when you're so aggressive and so toxic and so, yeah, it probably means that you're also having a hard time. So, but it still doesn't change the fact that it's not okay to just break our dream like that, you know, take it away from us. But anyway, so we spoke online, and he apologized, and it was all good, you know, and he said that he was in a very bad place and all of that.
Did he apologize to you?
But still.
I think so. I don't remember. Like I said, it's so long ago. I did meet him later on at another event. That was, I think, the defense something. He was playing as a stand-in for.
Oh, that's possible.
I want to say it was it Alliance that he
I
stood
wasn't
for,
at
like
that event.
one LAN or something. And we did talk a little bit, but yeah, I haven't seen him for many, many years.
Yeah.
I think he just completely quit. And I have, like you said, he might have been in a really bad place, and who knows what happened.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's something that maybe people don't think about so much with Dota or stuff in general, is that people that you have a connection with in like either on a personal level or on a professional level, you don't hear about them from years. Like, he could be doing literally anything right now.
For
Like,
sure.
if he was in a terrible place going into Dota, and that was the one thing that was actually going well for him, and that kind of got destroyed, like, who knows? Like, hopefully he found something else that he was passionate about, and that was good. But unfortunately, for a lot of people that are in that kind of place, it can get really dark, right?
Yeah.
So, but we have no idea. We haven't heard from him in years. I have no idea what he's up to. No connections. So yeah, who knows? But yeah, that tournament was quite something.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I think back on it, because we've talked about this, like about my personality, and you're like, when I play in teams, you feel like you know what kind of leadership type I would have been, right? And I sometimes reflect on it, I'm like, what if I would have done something different? Like, what if I was a totally different type of person? Which I think is unfair to ask of yourself. Like, you are. People sign up for what they do. I think the way we ran that team, I was more of a mediator, and I think sometimes with the strategy, you had like really confident ideas that you wanted to run. I very clearly remember when we beat Navi at DreamHack, your idea was, we're going to run this Enigma. I know exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You had this idea of how they were playing aggressive tri-lanes. We played these Venno tri-lanes, I remember, with Jugger.
That was so good. That was so good, actually.
And I was just playing tempo mids. I was playing like Furion, Nightstalker, or whatever. Trying to run over them aggressively.
And it worked.
So it worked. Yeah. Like, and we, like, thinking back, it's kind of crazy that we somehow made things work in some instances, right? But at that event, things were really good. I wonder if we hadn't bootcamped at all.
Probably
how
would have been
TI2 would have been. I think we would have done better.
much better for sure.
And that's
no doubt.
kind of crazy because when we talk about boot camps in Dota and we talk about preparation, we're always like, okay, what team has prepared the most? If you prepare in the wrong way, it can honestly just ruin you.
100%.
Like, because the game is so extremely mental and so personal and so much about trust that if your boot camp breaks trust, it would have better
Yes,
to not
you
have
can
it.
break trust. You can destroy your confidence as a
Yeah.
team, as an individual. You can burn yourself out. You can. There's so many things that you can do preemptively. Go there and have, and that you kill all your
If
chances.
you're hanging around people for a long period of time, you
Yeah.
get annoyed with them. Like
Exactly,
like
right?
Synderen never prepares for the podcast, for example. So if we were here for longer than a couple of weeks, I get really.
You guys
angry.
would just stop it. You would just stop doing it straight up. No, but for real too. It's like, yeah, if you get it, stay with people for too long and you don't have a certain discipline in doing so, then yeah, it can get really bad, or it can also get really keep, have a deeper relationship and understand each other better and stuff, and it could also be great. I think it's, as you put it, like, it really depends if you're doing it right or wrong. But back then we had no idea. We thought the longer we bootcamp, the better. The more we play, the better. And so even like emotionally, I think we were really unstable because of what we were putting ourselves through, right? I mean, how can you be emotionally stable when you had bad sleep, you're having bad food, you're overworking yourself, you're in an environment that makes you unhappy, there's zero balance, we don't feel like going out, it's like kind of a shithole, I'm sorry, but it was terrible. So yeah, I mean, and then you put yourself through Dota games that are frustrating, you're losing, but you gotta work it out. People are being annoyed and toxic with each other. Do that for 40 days or something. Who would not lose their mind? Like, seriously. I don't know a lot of people that would not lose their mind. I think, all things considered, we didn't fight each other. So we felt like playing TI anyways. Like, did a good job kind of pulling through, But it's crazy. Yeah,
We showed up and played.
Yeah.